All right, folks, thank you for joining us this evening on beautiful evening tonight. This is a regularly scheduled, called, and convened Greer City Council meeting held on August 25th, 2026. Having called the meeting to order, I'd like to ask Councilman Mark Hopper, if he would, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by an invocation. If you'd like to join us, please stand.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the day you've given to us. Lord, we thank you once again for the privilege it is to be entrusted with the privilege and responsibility to serve as members of this body. Lord, we thank you for our community, the way you blessed it for many years now. And Lord, pray that you would help us even in this time together, that we would steward your blessings well. Lord, help us to have wisdom and humility and the knowledge to act with justice, even as we discuss the business of your city. Be in our time and help us to honor you, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Got a lively little crowd tonight. In public forum this evening, we have two people that would like to appear. We set aside a time at the first of the meeting for public forum. Public forum is to address an item that is on our schedule, and this item is to be discussed later on in our meeting. So what I will do is, there's just two of you, and I would like to ask that you make appropriate use of your time. It's suggested to be around 3 minutes, and we'll try our best to stay in that time frame if we can. If you are one of the presenters this evening, as I call your name, if you will, come to the podium and state your name and address as a matter of the record, and then the floor is yours. James, I having a little trouble with the last name. If you will state your name for us, that will help me immensely, please, sir. Thank you. Floor is yours.
My name is James Mike Doyle. I go by Mike. 521 Lifescape Lane, a resident in the Blaze Ridge community. What we're addressing is the ordinance 3026 regarding an amendment to the statement of intent. The original developer, 1776, got the original statement approved. They're addressing later through your committee modifying that, which you'll address at a later time. We stand in approval. We agree with his decision to do that. What we'd like to share is that the community has concerns for the way business has been conducted over the course of our neighborhood build. There were promises made, statements were provided that would help sell the homes. Things did not necessarily come through. So in that regard, our concerns are that we may see other things fall aside. In order to get the neighborhoods bought off by the city of Greer, there's expectations they have for infrastructure, stormwater runoff. We have the same concerns. We, as a HOA, we're going to have to learn our responsibility after the developer leaves. The developer is also the declarant controlling the HOA. So information is not shared. We don't know a whole lot. We do know some of the requirements for stormwater pond maintenance and stuff like that, some of it. We don't know what's been maintained up to this point. So what we're asking is that the city keep us engaged, the neighborhood engaged, as we make this transition from the declarant. It's going to eventually be ours whenever he decides to give it up. But we're hoping that y'all will keep us engaged in what's going on so we can learn as we approach that process. And hopefully things won't fall in the HOA's responsibility if it's the contractor's responsibility to take care of. So that concludes what I've got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Doyle.
Thank you all for what you do.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Well, her handwriting's not much better, but I do know that the next name is Robin Bayou. So, Ms. Bayou, the floor is yours, please, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Robin Bayuk. I live at 564 Lifescape Lane in the Blaze Ridge subdivision. I'm here to address Ordinance 30-2026, changing the townhomes into single-family homes. I'm speaking for myself personally. I completely am on board with changing the townhomes into single-family homes. My concern is with our developer. He has not completed the phase of our neighborhood after 2 years. I just want to start by thanking city staff. They have worked diligently to communicate with the developer, and he has not been cooperative. And I know they are frustrated too. There's a list of things that have not been completed. The clubhouse is not completed. The pool has not, they ran out of funds, could not complete the pool. The construction sidewalks have not been completed. And it's very dangerous when you live in a 55-plus living neighborhood. You have to go off the sidewalk, walk around the driveway, and come back on. The new sidewalks that they just poured in the last month do not have truncated domes at the end, and they'll need to be replaced. The privacy fence that was supposed to be behind my home and keep the garbage trucks' headlights from flashing in my bedroom has not been started, and there's no estimate for that. There's still stormwater issues that have not been completely addressed. Our community is very frustrated with the lack of response from the developer. I respectfully ask council to please take a look at what can be done with the developer. He has filed bankruptcy, and somehow he is still responsible for our neighborhood. I ask that you please take a look at what can be done to permit him from moving forward until he completes what he was supposed to have started. But I am in fully support of the ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. That concludes our public forum this evening. We will now move to the minutes from the council meeting on August the 11th, 2026. I'll entertain a motion that they be received.
So moved.
And a second. Any items of note for the clerk? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood?
Yes.
Mr. Booker?
Yes.
Mr. Hopper?
Yes.
Mr. Lander?
Yes.
Mr. Bettis?
Yes.
Mr. Lamb?
Yes.
Mayor Danner?
Yes. Council, this evening, we have a very special group of young ladies that are going to join us. I don't see them. I don't think they're here. Are y'all here?
She's waiting.
Don't be shy.
They've been drilled hard.
We want to recognize the 2026 Greer Softball Club 8 and Under All-Stars for their 2026 South Carolina State Championship. Let's give them a big round of applause. No, go right ahead. I don't want any of these girls blocking my view, so. This is the City of Greer Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Department is proud to recognize and congratulate our 2026 Greer Softball Club 8 and Under All-Stars for their 2026 state championship run. This remarkable accomplishment represents a historic moment for the Greer softball program, as this is the first softball state championship since 2009. A championship is never won in a single game. This title is the culmination of 4 months of hard work, dedication, countless practices, and competitive games. Along the way, these young athletes demonstrated commitment, teamwork, perseverance, and a desire to represent Greer with pride. We would like to extend our sincere appreciation to each of the players for their hard work and determination, the coaches for their countless hours they've invested in teaching, developing, and encouraging these athletes, and the parents and families for their tremendous support and commitment that they gave throughout the season. Success like this is truly a team effort, and it takes an entire community of people working together to build a championship program. The 2026 Greer Softball Club 8 and Under All-Stars accomplished something special. They have earned the honor of being recognized as South Carolina's state champions. Their dedication to the game and to one another has resulted in an achievement that will be remembered as an important milestone in the history of our program, and I'm going to add, in your life, ladies. Congratulations to the players, coaches, and families of the 2026 Greer Softball 8 and Under All-Stars on a job well done and an outstanding championship season. I am going to invite our staff from the Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Department to join us for pictures. So if you want to make your way up here, their success is your success as well. Let's have another big round of applause for these young ladies.
Good job, guys. Good job. All right.
All right, ladies, guess what? Time for homework.
All right. I hear Andy's asleep.
I told you about the scars on her. We get to hear about the upstate alliance.
She just wanted you to get up.
She had it, you just see how long it takes. Like a peaceful crowd, I think.
Yeah, as the grandfather to an 8-year-old, I don't even know how they get them to practice, let alone win a state championship. So hats off to those folks. That is an amazing accomplishment. Speaking of amazing accomplishments, I'm going to invite Upstate Alliance President and CEO John Loomis. John has led the Upstate Alliance over the last, I'll let him fill in how many years it has been, but he and I go back a long ways, and the work that the Upstate Alliance has done over the years is simply amazing. They have been a leader in economic development in the upstate, and under John's guidance have made incredible strides. And I know that he is a big supporter and fan of the Greer community and the upstate in general, and we welcome him tonight for an overview of what's going on in the upstate and how he works alongside our economic development team as we continue to grow and the upstate continues to grow. And so the floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and members of council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. And by the way, that's an impossible group to successfully follow, but I'm going to do my very best. So, as the mayor said, we're the Regional Economic Development Group for the upstate 10 counties, and we work very, very closely with Greer, Reno, and Jeff Howard on a daily basis on trying to help bring new businesses into the area. So I wanted to kind of do an overview of some of the things that have been going on in the past year. But to start out, I want to talk about at our annual meeting earlier this year, we featured an upstate employee of one of our large manufacturing companies, and he told us the story of his family's journey with the company. His father retired from one of the plants, and his son currently works there. This story is an example of the generational legacy that the upstate leaders have hoped to achieve with economic development. And with BMW now being a little over 30 years, we're starting to see some of those generational legacy stories as well, where entire families are really affected by economic development, and particularly from the ability to move up their lives and move up their quality of lives. Hearing how individuals can find a passion, blaze a path, and progress through their career right here at home is exactly why communities engage in economic development. Today, I want to share more about the role that the Upstate Alliance plays in that process in our 10-county geography. Most of us know the region's story. We were a textile production hub that fell vulnerable to new technology and global markets. For decades, leaders of our state and region have worked diligently to lay the foundation for a prosperous community. And let me say, Greer is a prosperous community. They envision good quality jobs for everyone, working to attract marquee employers like BMW, Michelin, Plastic Omnium, and many, many others. Today, the upstate's economy has matured into a diverse powerhouse where manufacturing and technology meet. A recent study by the South Carolina Manufacturers and Commerce Group reiterated the importance of manufacturing to South Carolina, with a $300 billion economic impact each year to South Carolina, and right at 30% of all jobs, direct or indirect, being created through manufacturing. The study also found that manufacturing jobs pay 24% more than the average South Carolina job. And manufacturing has a high multiplier effect. For example, the automotive industry. For every 10 jobs created in automotive manufacturing, which would include BMW and the suppliers, 36 additional jobs are created elsewhere in our economy. These additional jobs include fields such as engineering, architecture, construction, legal, financial, accounting services, human resources, information technology, and also businesses that come to a city like Greer. And you wonder why I'm talking so much about manufacturing. Number one, that's really, we focus a lot on that at the Upstate Alliance with our target industries, but also we are in the heart of a manufacturing region. And what we've seen over time is that the cities like Greer and Greenville and my hometown of Anderson, as we've gotten this diverse manufacturing portfolio in, that's what's caused the growth, because that's where that multiplier effect is. And that we work very closely with Reno and his team on trying to bring more of those projects in. So, you know this already, but we have a number of international companies in our region. In fact, 590 upstate companies are international from 38 countries. And why is that so important? These companies have come over, companies like Michelin and BMW have come over, and they've seen that they can be successful here, and they continue to bring more and more jobs and investment here. And no community, I think, has seen that success more than Greer. So, how did our region do in 2025? The upstate had 53 projects with $7.6 billion in capital investment and nearly 5,000 jobs to be created. That brings our 5-year cumulative total to $18.8 billion and 28,600 jobs. One company I want to highlight within these figures is Matica, which located in Greer in 2024, bringing 40 new jobs and $2 million in new investment. They are a Swiss headquartered company that designs, manufactures, and markets payment and identity systems. The Upstate Alliance team supported Matica as they were looking for locations to grow, and Greer, under Reno's leadership, provided a perfect fit for them. So our role in the process is identification, going out and marketing. The person or persons that land it are sitting right back there. Reno is the person. So we never try to take credit for the company coming here, because the economic development professionals on the local level are the ones that do that. But that partnership brings those companies here and makes the economy successful. So how does the Upstate Alliance work to market the Upstate? I've got some highlights of how the Upstate Alliance team supported the region's efforts in 2025. We did 429 separate presentations to companies, site consultants, and what we call centers of influence. We completed 78 requests for information, or RFIs, which is a key step in the site selection process. So when a company becomes interested enough in the upstate region to really consider locating here, we will send out to them a project profile. They'll fill that out. It becomes what we call an RFI, request for information. We'll then send that to Reno and the other economic developers in the region after the company has filled that out, so we know about the utilities and how many employees they're going to need and things like that. And then we get responses back on potential sites and information from the local economic developers, and then the companies start to make the decisions on where they want to be. We also hosted 102 visits. I hope I'm on the right slide here. Yes, I am. We also hosted 102 visits between companies and what we call centers of influence, which are site consultants in most cases. And if you look at the second picture down, that is a group that we brought here, for an international group, and we toured the inland port, which, let me tell you, is one of our top assets that we have here, along with GSP, and those are all right in your area. We also added 262 new leads to what we call our project pipeline. And this year's activity levels are tracking ahead of all of these categories from 2025. So each of these activities are meant to support and promote our most important constituency, the local economic development offices. And as I mentioned, we work very closely with Reno and Jeff Howard on a constant basis to try to bring leads to the area, provide them with research support, and assist them in any way we can. So looking ahead, we have a video series coming out soon that will prominently feature a Greer business as the voice of Main Street. Reno and Jeff helped connect us with Smith and James, and the video aims to show the connection between recruiting new businesses and industries, fostering existing industries, and building thriving main streets and small business. And this is the quality of life and amenities that companies are looking at when they're looking at the upstate region. We're excited to share this project later this week when it launches, though Greer serves as a perfect example of a balanced community rich in industrial employers, a downtown core, and various housing options and leisure amenities. And these are the things that companies, workers, executives are looking for when they are making those decisions of where they want their new companies to go. So, again, we're proud to work very closely with Greer, and thanks to y'all's team, and really appreciate the support over all the years of the city council and what we're doing. So, I'm glad to take any questions, or if y'all have any comments or ideas, glad to respond to that.
John?
Yes, sir.
What percentage of all this investment is automotive? Not just the manufacturer themselves, but when you start pulling in the suppliers and then the suppliers and the.
I mean, in the overall, since BMW here, I can't even tell you the figures because it's in the billions and billions of dollars. Each year, automotive is really the top industry on our announcements that we have. It's probably 15-20% of the announcements that we have year over year. Some of those are direct BMW suppliers, and some are others that are just coming in to supply other areas, because we now are seriously the center of automotive manufacturing for the U.S. There are more automotive OEMs and suppliers within 500 miles of right here than within 500 miles of Detroit. So this is where the industry has come. We have 33 OEMs in the southeastern U.S. So these automotive suppliers, while a lot of them are focused on BMW, they're looking at, Georgia, companies in Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, all over. So we've really become an automotive hub, but that's not the only industry that we recruit.
And that's where I was leading
Yeah.
this. I guess the heavy lift in the very beginning was from a former governor, Carroll Campbell, who was able to get BMW here and everything that it took to get them, and then the heavy lift by city leaders and county, all of that, and then now it's, we've got folks like Reno and has done a great job bringing in other manufacturers, and we've actually instructed Reno or asked him to, we need to diversify. Are we doing any heavy lifting to bring another totally separate type of manufacturing to Greer or to the upstate? Because you mentioned about Michelin, BMW, the reason, there's a lot of reasons they came, but BMW, they came because of wages. So once we top out with there, my concern is that we're set up the same way as we were with textiles.
And we think about that all the time. We have 5 target industries that we focus on: automotive, aerospace, life sciences, medical device type things, food and beverage, and then what we call, it's advanced materials, but it's overall manufacturing category. So we have a heavy focus on other areas, knowing that, I don't think people are going to decide tomorrow to quit driving cars, but, over time, that industry could be like the textile industry and more of it go overseas. So, yeah, we have a big focus on that, and it's surprising at the end of the year when we look at the diversity of the categories of the different, companies that have come in. Food and beverage, believe it or not, has been a really big one over the last few years. We're seeing a real uptick in life science, particularly medical device type companies, like Matica. It's a different kind of company totally. A lot of technology companies that are supporting manufacturing across the board. Lockheed Martin, right down the road, they continue to expand. And so, yeah, we definitely we keep the eye on the ball there.
Do you guys have the ability to put together just the percentages of how everything ranks out, like automotive, aerospace?
Yes, sir.
I would love it if you could get that to our staff and they could pass it back.
We have that data that we keep up with. Actually, I sent it out to someone about a week ago. So we have that, and I can provide that to Reno. Is that the best way to get it? All right, I'll send that on.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
My
Thank you.
question too, sir.
Okay, thank you for asking that, too. That's very important.
I think one of the interesting things about being in the upstate, and for John's organization as well, too, is the fairly vast difference in what Greenville County is trying to recruit as opposed to Spartanburg County. And I know that, we've been able to jump on that wagon a little bit. Attica is one of those, and I can think of a couple more that have really brought some diversity that we may not have had if we were focused solely on the heavy manufacturing and that sort of thing. And I think that probably is going to be our future, while automotive and aerospace are, certainly two of the leaders in this area. The diversity and the different kinds of businesses that we're seeing locating in the upstate is going to provide us some balance in that formula. Others.
Mr. Loomis,
Yes,
out
sir.
of curiosity, incentive packages and things like that are hot topics. What are some of the deciding factors for companies to want to relocate? Is it incentives or,
Well,
what's the selling points?
What we always say is incentives don't make a bad deal good, they make a good deal better. So, in all honesty, when we're working with them, workforce, pretty much you can depend on that being the number one in the overall. Real estate and having real estate having sites or whatever, and then energy. Those will probably be the top in the way that we would. But, in my experience doing this for a long time, it comes down to can they get their people and are their wages in the right, category for them to be able to be successful. So that's kind of what we see. And then the incentives are, they're very important to keep us competitive. The fee in lieu of tax arrangements at the county level, the things y'all do on the city level to try to help businesses come in here. Those are very important things. But at the end of the day, we got to continue to have that workforce trained to go to work. And I think we do as good a job here in the upstate and in South Carolina as anywhere else on that. Talking about manufacturing, 2,500 manufacturers in the upstate. We've got about 125,000 people working in manufacturing. I mean, that's a big pool out there, and that's what we depend on. And don't forget our engineering talent, 2.3 times the national average of industrial engineers.
That's
All right, I'll quit talking. I can talk for 27 hours in a row about this stuff.
John, we appreciate your organization and you for bringing us this report this evening. We wish you well and are glad to have the association with the Upstate Alliance and look forward to continuing that relationship. Thank you, sir.
And thank you, and thanks for the insightful questions, too. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Y'all take care.
Council, the next item before us this evening is a petitioner. Ms. Kate DeVix would like to address council regarding Park Avenue. Ms. DeVix has appeared before us before, I believe, and so if you will come to the podium and give us your name and address as a matter of record, we will entertain your petition and simply ask that you do that in a way that is time efficient. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Most of you know me already, but I will introduce myself. My name is Kathleen DeVix. I'm the owner of 134 Park Avenue, one of the 12 units in the Park Avenue Townhome community. And I am the HOA VP for the Park Avenue Townhomes HOA. And represent the owners as well as the HOA in speaking before you. Tonight, I would like to enter into the record some of the things that have been presented to council in the past. That includes the position statement of the Park Avenue town homeowners that was submitted to council between the first and second readings of Ordinance 2025. It also includes the petition that was drafted 2 weeks ago, which may or may not be the exact way to go about getting discussion started again with council about the gate that's been installed across Park Avenue, but we do need to have discussion. I have once again spent considerable time looking into this matter, and the reason for that is the ordinance was amended to or revised to include language about the gate that was going to be installed across Park Avenue. And we had asked that language about the gate also be included in any act of sale or deed transferring part of Park Avenue to the private developer of the James. It turned out that when we saw the quitclaim deed that was filed on December 30th of last year, that the quitclaim deed made no reference to the gate. At that point, because also we were hearing from the project superintendent that the gate was going to be left open, I did two things. One, I texted Dustin Harriet, the superintendent, and I just said, "This is what I'm hearing, what's up?" And he contacted Mike McCarthy and wrote back saying, because he said, I have to contact the owner, he wrote back saying, right now their stance is to leave the gate open unless closing is desired. So the next step I took was to contact the mayor, who was in charge of making sure that the quitclaim deed and everything got done, and I also contacted the city attorney. And so another document that I would like to include in what I'm filing into the record is an email to the mayor and Mr. McCarthy. So the petition, the original petition statement, the email with the city attorney, the petition, and I will forward to Tammy Duncan tomorrow the series of emails that I've exchanged just in the last couple of days with Mr. Grant. I have spoken to city planning, to Alex Cahill. I met with the mayor for 15 minutes. He was very generous with his time. I met with Mr. Merriman at 8:30 in the morning for 30 minutes one day last week. And then I spoke with Mr. Grant by phone at the end of last week, and he had asked me to send him something in writing, and I did. Now, to get back a little bit more to the substance of all of this, and for the people in the audience, I'll just make this real quick. So the developer, the James, had a reason for going to the city council and asking if they would close part of the public road, Park Avenue, and transfer it to the developer. The reasons were financial, and they made sense, and the city wanted to see the development open up. So a resolution was introduced to initiate the privatization procedure in Ordinance 7811. That was done, and Ordinance 30-2025 was the ordinance that was drafted to carry out that privatization and transfer of the road or land. And then I've talked about what happened, but let me just say that the night the resolution was being introduced to council, Mr. McCarthy from the Meridian Group, the developer of the James, called and asked if he could meet with me before the meeting. And he told me the reason why the James, the developer, wanted to have part of the road so they could run private water lines under it. And he said to me, "We really do not want to build a gate. We will if we have to, but we would be willing to leave it open. Would you guys like that?" Now, I really had to ask myself, why is he saying this? I asked him, well, who said that? Did they explain why? No. And then began my journey of trying to understand what's going on here. So I don't believe that Mr. McCarthy would have made the comments he did to me if he hadn't been under the impression that the gate had to be kept closed. What's now being said by various parts of the city is that there's nothing in the ordinances that even requires a gate or that says a gate has to be kept closed. The only thing that definitively speaks to the factual situation on Park Avenue is an engineering manual standard, which is quoted in the position statement, and I have it in front of me now in an email that I just sent to Mr. Grant earlier today. But that engineering standard says that private roads limited to residential streets can be allowed, provided that the private road or network does not allow through access between among adjoining public roads. That's the situation. We now have a section of the road that's been closed to the public and transferred to the owner of the James. At one end is Moore Street and the railroad tracks, and at the other end is the section of Park Avenue that is still open to the public and runs in front of our 3 townhome buildings. Mr. Grant, I wrote to him Monday morning to put something in writing for him. He wrote back and he said, he thought I might have misunderstood and thought that he was saying 7.1B of the engineering manual requires that the gate be closed. Well, it doesn't mention a gate. But if you stop and think about what the engineering manual says, it says the road cannot allow, the private section of road cannot allow through access. Well, how are you going to do that? So if what Mr. Grant has said, and it's similar to what planning and Mr. Merriman have said to me, that the gate was just intended to be like a symbol kind of demarcating the property line between the James and the rest of Park Avenue. But if that's all it was, a symbol, why was the developer required to install a gate at some expense? And why would that gate not be required to be kept closed in order to prevent through access? I did some more research after speaking with Mr. Merriman, and I drove around the James complex repeatedly to count the number of access points. I looked at the access section of the ordinances to better understand what that meant. And I also drove around the Parkview apartments and did a little research on like how many units do they have and how many access points or entrance points do they have on that property. The Parkview apartments actually have a few more apartments than the apartments in the 3 large buildings on the James. They only have 2 points to get on to the property, off of, and then looping back onto Cannon Street. The James actually has more options than that. You can exit the parking lot on Trade Street directly onto Trade Street, or you can exit the parking lots on what is now a driveway within the park at the James property and get up to Moore Street and turn either left or right to get either over to Trade or Line. And Trade and Line are more primary access roads for people coming into the city or leaving the city. Each of those streets will lead to Main Street or to some street that then further connects them down the line so they can get to the interstate, the airport, BMW, or they could go through the city and take some back roads to get down into Greenville without ever having to get on the interstate. So it's very difficult, although people have been generous, Mr. Merriman, the mayor, and engineering and talking with me, but it feels like pulling teeth. And I asked 2 of the councilmen who, during the discussion last fall, each said, well, I can tell you if I lived on that street, I'd want the gate and I'd want it closed. And I asked them last Tuesday when I got here late, and I forgot about the importance of signing up on the agenda. I asked them what they had thought would happen after everything that happened last fall with the ordinance being revised. What did they think would happen? And I told them what I was hearing. I bet that was a 3-minute bell. But
We're at 9 minutes. I'll give you 1 minute to wrap up, please.
Well, I'll just wrap up right here.
Okay,
I
thank
think
you.
we need more discussion. And if if this is truly being left to be a decision between the developer and our small townhome community, I just have to ask, we thought you were here to protect our safety. Our primary reason for wanting the road gated off and the gate kept closed, and you'll see when you get the thing to Mr. Grant that we meet all the access road requirements of the fire department. Not only do there are those access points I described for the apartment buildings, the townhomes, 37 townhomes, have their own separate entrances and access points off of Line Street and the lower end of Park Avenue. And on top of that, if there was ever an emergency and the buildings in the James had to be evacuated, the fire marshal's going to be there, and he's going to open the gate, and he's going to make sure that everybody gets out safely. That's a great combination of access points. And so we really want to hear from the city that, yes, it's not just left to us to talk with the developer. The city agrees that the gate should be kept closed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council departmental reports are in your packet this evening. Those can be further referenced by either department head and/or Mr. Merriman. Mr. Klein joins us for our financial activity report.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Financial performance summary as of the month July 2026. Starting in the general fund, there was a cash balance of $24,844,000. Revenues are $584,697. Total expenditures, $3,738,000, and currently 1% over budget. There's an unfavorable revenue benchmark variance of $14,702, an unfavorable expenditure benchmark variance of $1,226,000, for an overall unfavorable benchmark variance of $1,241,000. Moving on to hospitality fund, there's a cash balance of $3,194,000, revenues of $369,000, and expenditures of $4,147. Finally, stormwater fund, there's a cash balance of $3,559,000, revenues of $49,110, and expenditures of $4,719. With that, happy to stand for any questions.
Council's floor is open for questions or comments. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Merriman, the administrator's report, please, sir.
Mr. Mayor, Council,
Mr. Merriman.
just one brief statement. As a reminder to council, please review the fire department, EMS, transportation, and ALS delays. In July, we had to provide 16 ALS transports, which means that's taking folks off our trucks out of our city to take somebody in because they're not, the counties aren't sending the folks that are qualified.
Thank you for the reminder. Mr. Merriman.
As we continue the sesquicentennial celebration, it's been about music and community and our history, but the Greer Station Groove is an event this Saturday, August 29th from 6 to 9 downtown Greer. So grab your dancing shoes, a lawn chair, and friends for an evening of live outdoor music from Sweet Soul with food vendors, family-friendly activities, and beverages available. I want to remind council of a workshop September 8th at 5:30. Prior to the regular meeting, this is to discuss the current engineering manual with staff recommendations and for updating the manual. So we would appreciate council providing some input into that process. So September 8th, 5:30. We did a hard hat tour of the Prisma Health Performance Center yesterday. for the executive committee, for the For Greer Initiative, the Corporation for Greer, the advisory committee for the Sports and Events Center, and the Greer Rec Board. It was a very great afternoon to be able to showcase where we are as we proceed with construction of the Prism Health Performance Center, and to get those folks that have been so active in its design and construction a chance to actually put some boots on the ground and see it. So I want to thank publicly again the folks that I mentioned that are represented on those committees. Thank them for their time and engagement in this process. I also want to go ahead and put out there, and I may be in trouble for saying this, but September 29th, we have scheduled the ribbon cutting for the public safety training facility. We intend to have that at 10 a.m. Michelle, is that right? 10 a.m. September 29th will be the ribbon cutting for the public safety training center. And just also wanted to take an opportunity to just address the decision to suspend access to and cover the flock cameras, the 10 cameras that we have in the municipal boundaries of Greer. As we being administration and the police department have discussed some ongoing training opportunities, burgeoning technologies that will make a more transparent process, provide better delivery of service with flock, and then, of course, then to gauge just some community sentiment, council sentiment, et cetera, as to the presence of those cameras. We did decide that a 90-day moratorium on its use is prudent, and so effective last Friday by close of business, we had ceased operation and covered all of those flock cameras. This will be an iterative process with staff as we continue to work through some of the issues with these cameras and some of the concerns about privacy, but we will be reporting to council as appropriate where we are as we go through this 90 days.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Merriman, the information that we've gathered, and we were told by the police chief that after 30 days is gone. And I've heard different, I think our Greenville County Sheriff says that their information they collect is then stored by SLED. Is that what happens to our information?
And I wish Matt was here to speak directly to it, and this is part of what we want to make sure that we're being very clear about is how that information is stored. As a matter of fact, we're working on policies where that information is stored for no more than 7 days. Where it goes after that is part of what I want to make sure that we're very clear on with the public, whether or not we won't maintain the data locally. The question always remains is, well, it doesn't just go away into the netherworld. So I can't answer that right now, but that will be part of how we respond to this ongoing debate.
And I think it's going to be helpful when you look into this, the storage cost, and how does this, is it all subject to FOIA? And I think that's a big issue. So if it's subject to FOIA, then we're going to have to maintain, maybe that's why SLED is involved. And now, I don't know this to be true, but I have heard that the SLED or state that is doing the storage, or they're charging large fees to do that. I don't know.
I can't verify that tonight, but good question. Yes, sir.
Before we get, before the end of this, let's call it hiatus, can we schedule a workshop to discuss it?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. You know, I got one, but it's unrelated to any of that. I want to go back to Park Avenue. First, I want to say, of all the presentations I ever listened to, that was, from citizens, that was far and away the best organized. Anyway, I was sitting in the audience. I wasn't on council then, but I did sit in the audience. And courtesy of listening to her, a lot of memories came back. And I took away from that, it's not an ordinance, I know that, but the developer pretty well committed to keeping the gate closed. That developer, the council has bent over backwards to accommodate. And Now, I don't know why we can't get a little cooperation out of them now. Now, I do know that once that developer's gone, whoever's running that apartment complex could change something. But anyway, that's just my position.
We'll move on. As a matter of old business, we have the second and final reading of ordinance number 25-2026. This is an ordinance to provide for the annexation of a certain property owned by First Citizens Bank and Trust located on Highway 101 South by 100% petition and to establish a zoning classification of commercial corridor for said property. Ms. Cotty.
Thank you, Mayor. Planning Commission held a public hearing for the zoning of this property on August 18th and recommended approval.
Comes with approval from Planning Commission. Do I hear a motion to receive?
So moved.
Second.
And a second. Floor is open for discussion. Questions? Comments? Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Earwood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Lander,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Mr. Lamb,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council has moved to items of new business. First and final reading of Resolution 21-2026. This is a resolution amending Resolution number 6-26, an allocation of the Greenville County CDBG and home funds for program year 2026. Mr. Joe Smith, who is Director of the Greenville County Redevelopment Authority, joins us tonight for this conversation. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Always a pleasure to be back in front of you folks again and talk about affordable housing and the things that GCRA is responsible for. And given the fact we got a resolution in front of you where we've had some dropped numbers from our original budget, I'm sure you've got some questions for me as to why they dropped. My preemptive statement with that is you're a victim of your own success. As I stand here having to follow behind Mr. Lummis's presentation, saying that, okay, we've got industry coming into the area. Unfortunately, the HUD formula grants are geared heavily toward people who don't have that. They don't have population growth. They have a plethora of substandard housing. We've done a lot of work, GCRA and Greer, in partnership over the past number of years to alleviate a lot of that problem. So when you stack up the fact that you have whatever your extent of poverty is, your total population, your age of your housing stock, and your population growth relative to other areas, all those things factor into what your formula grants look like. GCRA doesn't make those formulas up. We don't even guide the collection of that data. It's done through the U.S. Census and also through the American Community Survey, which is done, I think, every 5 years to get you a little closer than a 10-year look over a census. The paradox is, if you're experiencing population growth and all the good things that are happening in Greer and in upstate South Carolina, it impacts your formula grant. And so therefore you end up with a reduction in your grant. All is not gloom and doom, though. As I stand before you, I say that, okay, well, if we're going to see lowering in some of our HUD dollars across the region, not just you guys, but the other municipalities, Greenville County as well, then I'm encouraged by the fact I had a meeting today with the Housing Trust Fund out of state of South Carolina. That fund is developed by deed stamps. So the good thing about population growth is you got a lot of deed stamps being recorded on deeds. They get about $2.5 million a month down there on deed stamps revenue coming into the state. So now it's not good in that we get a certain amount of that. We have to apply for a grant to get those things, and we do that through small rental development program. We do it through housing improvement programs that we can write for, and we're qualified to do that. And so as we do those things, and they've changed these programs recently, they're just now coming up with another cycle now, we'll be able to continue to do a lot of the programs we do with federal dollars, we do it with state dollars. So good, South Carolina should be able to do that. We should be able to generate revenue and actually help our citizens who are the ones who are not benefiting as much from, the BMWs and the custom or the high-end, high-tech jobs, because we still got a population base here that needs help that are aging out of the workforce. We've got folks who are unable to be in that workforce for whatever reason, they need housing also, and we're still here to help them. And so we will continue to do so. And also, as those numbers go down, the redevelopment authority, we're able to go out in the open market, we're looking to apply for construction loans, and we leverage those local dollars with federal dollars with commercial paper, and we do developments like your Fairview Townhouse project, of which we've got, 9, I think, now sold or under contract. Got about 5 more to go. So if anybody wants to buy a townhouse that you know of, send them to us. We'd love to hook them up over in Greer and get you into that great project over there. And I also want to say that we have been struck with, in the last 6 years, we had to come through COVID. We did that. Then we had to go through the economic turmoils we've had of high interest rates. We got drunk on 3% money, which was really good when we had mortgage loans in that route. Well, when we go up to 6.5 to 7, that cuts a lot of people out who were able to buy at 3, so now we're back up there having to subsidize that number. Good news is we have people, and we're getting a lot more traffic out there now based on our price points, which are competitive with the local market. So I throw a lot at you in a hurry, but I'm willing to throw stuff back, and I'll see if I can catch it.
Council, floor is open for discussion or questions at this point. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Council, this is the first and final reading of resolution number 21-2026. Entertain a motion to receive.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Floor is open for discussion.
The residents are in favor of it. The residents aren't happy with their developer. I mean, we hear a lot of that. But this will get them closer to being built out.
We're considering resolution 21-26 right now.
Oh, I'm sorry, I read the wrong one.
Yeah. Council, Council, one of the things that councils in the past have done, and it has been to our advantage, is that we do use a revolving fund, which has proven to have helped our housing program immensely through the years. I would venture a guess that we are one of the few that do that at one point in time. I don't know that there was but one other one that was doing that, and I know that this preceded me, so we've been doing it at least 30 years. And this has given us the ability to provide funding through some of these lean times. And while it is a bit discouraging that our funding is going down, we can certainly hang our hats on the fact that, that we are still able to provide housing funds that a lot of other communities now find themselves without. And so we appreciate the guidance and the direction that the Greenville County Redevelopment Authority has given us over the years, and the dedication that those councils that precede this one have exercised in deciding to reinvest that money in our community. And I think that speaks volumes of the commitment of not just this council, but councils over the last 30-plus years to make a statement like that, that we're going to take money that can be used in a lot of different ways and invest it right back in this community. So thank you to Greenville County Redevelopment Authority as you manage that program, and acknowledge the work of past councils. Other thoughts? Discussion?
I can say that this redevelopment authority, it's benefited District 1. It was actually on part of the beginning part of Trade Street, and they came in and replaced some houses, and I think that was kind of a snowball effect for the rest of the neighborhood. So I have seen it firsthand works well.
Thank you, sir. Others? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Lander,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Mr. Lamb,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council has moved to item 2. It's the first reading of ordinance number 30-2026. This is an ordinance approving a major change to a design review district of certain real properties in the city of Greer related to the Blaze Ridge development. Ms. Cotty?
Hi, thank you, Mayor and Council. So this is a major change request. This subdivision, Blaze Ridge, is a design review district. This property was annexed back in 2019. And again, when we have a DRD or a PD, plan development, with that, we have a conceptual site plan and we have a statement of intent. So back when this came in, it was envisioned to be a mixed product community, not necessarily mixed use, so a mix of single-family attached and detached. It was platted in 2022, and you can see it here a little bit closer. It is located off Gibb Shoals Road. There are 69 lots currently platted. The area in question is circled in yellow. They are particularly requesting that the last two set of townhome units be converted to single-family detached. So that would be 8 townhome lots, and the result would be approximately 5 single-family detached lots. So that is the crux of the change. We can kind of address some of the other concerns, certainly, but what they are asking for is to change from attached to detached for those last 8 units. This community is about 92% built out. Most of the homes in the other area that you see are CO'd. We have 4 currently permitted and under construction. So again, just a kind of summary, you can kind of see the underlying townhome sets. Again, 8, 4 are already built. But those last 8 by the cul-de-sac, you can kind of see a rough layout. Again, this is not a civil plan or a preliminary plat. This is just conceptual. It still would have to go through full civil review with our staff, engineering, a stormwater study, grading permit. This would just allow the zoning to change to allow for this different product. So again, this was the original final development plan that was approved back in 2021, and then again platted in 2022. So just to kind of summarize again, they are requesting to revise the statement of intent and conceptual site plan to allow the conversion of 8 attached single-family units to 5 single-family detached lots. And that would be a maximum, again, since it hasn't been through civil. If grading or other site constraints wouldn't allow 5, it could be less than 5, but would be no more than 5 based on this change. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Planning Commission did have a public hearing last Monday night, and thank you to the neighbors who attended that as well. They did recommend approval for this change. So now I'm happy to answer any questions.
Council comes with a recommendation from the Planning Commission. I'll entertain a motion to receive.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Floor is open for discussion.
What I said earlier. Look, this is the best thing we can get for them, or they're happy, so I'm all in favor. I do want to, developers are making me question approving some things when they come up. We don't have a great method of, they just go file bankruptcy here. We don't have a great method of getting what they promise, even close. So anyway, but I'm in favor of this for sure.
Question in regards to this comment. I know there's bonds and things that developers have to put up. Does infrastructure such as pools and things fall under any of those categories? Amenities?
Potentially. I will say that the pool specifically was not included in the bond. However, items such as the privacy fence that is supposed to be in there and is not in yet, ADA ramps, sidewalk, other items that we sometimes see in a final plat bond are streetlights, asphalt, top coat, curb repair, clean streets. So we do have a bond. We have both a stormwater bond and a final plat infrastructure bond for this particular development. I will say that a representative from the bond company did fly out last Thursday and did a walkthrough of the site with our assistant city engineer, Nathan Jackson. So he is currently working on a punch list of all of the things that are left in this development in order for us to close out the grading permit, accept the streets, and release the bonds. And so the bond company is engaged at this point, and has been very responsive. So we are working on that punch list right now, and then the bond company will take that punch list, compare it to the bond estimates, come up with quotes to do that work, and then we'll move forward with the process to get some of that work completed.
Council, I've been reminded this is first reading of this ordinance. By show of hand, is the owner of the property or a representative of the owner of the property with us this evening? Are you available to answer questions? Okay, we'll call you if we need to. Thank you. Others?
Oh, just for record, I wasn't complaining about staff.
Oh, no.
I was wanting you to get bigger clubs.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't disagree. Sometimes it is a challenge, as long as a site is considered active. It is challenging sometimes to call bonds. So things may not happen as quickly as everyone, even the city, would like to see. I will say this came to a real head last summer when activity kind of came to a standstill. And at one point, our building staff, our stormwater inspectors, our engineers were out at this site almost daily. So yes, we share the frustration, and we do have some mechanisms in place. I'm not going to promise that they're perfect, but we do have some mechanisms in place. Like I said, the two bonds, the acceptance of city streets, and the closeout of the permits, which again would be able to release some of these bonds. So there are a mix of carrots and teeth, but certainly open to additional ideas or conversations.
Did you say there, sorry, I might have missed the comment completely, but you said something about the final approved development plan is also bonded or no?
So the final development plan is a terminology that was related to the DRD projects. It's about the same as a preliminary plat. But yes, the final plat, which is, so there's a stormwater bond, which is related to stormwater facilities, ponds, BMPs during construction, site stabilization. There's one bond for that, and we bond that at the point that they get a grading permit.
Okay.
And then once they have graded the site and have utilities, then they apply for that final plat. And so the final plat, we also get a bond, but it's very different line items. So in that one, we have sidewalks, we have asphalt surface, we have curbs. In this particular case, we have fence, sometimes streetlights, if they bond them. If during COVID, there was a lot of back order for supply, so.
Typically amenities, right?
Not typically, no. If they're not required. So if there were something that were required per the UDO or per the statement of intent, maybe, I can't say, I wasn't here at that time, but I mean, maybe we could have bonded the pool, but it isn't, so.
Okay. Is there a way to ask the intent from the representative?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sir, if you'd like to take the podium, please, if you'll give us your name and position and address for the record, we would appreciate it.
I am I'm Brock Fankhauser of 2302 Hamlet Drive in Greenville, 29615. I am here as a representative of the applicant, which is Integrity Carolinas. They are the owner of these townhome lots and the preceding single-family lots, which were transferred back in October. You have a question about the private amenities?
Yeah, the
Okay.
amenities, if there's any plans.
Integrity Carolinas is not affiliated with that, but I'm also standing before you as the developer that was part of the transfer of land. My business did not have any bankruptcy filings up to this point, but we are no longer a functioning business. We're dissolved, all employees are gone, but I am working in my capacity and my knowledge of Blaze Ridge as a consultant to Integrity Carolinas. Integrity Carolinas, let's call the word inherited, a fund that New Style Blaze Ridge had accumulated, called a savings account, put aside for the clubhouse. And when everything fell apart last summer, those funds survived the negotiations with the secured lender who was involved in many of New Style's projects. It was a private equity lender out of New York. So with that money, it got transferred to Integrity Carolinas, who is using my company as a general contractor to finish construction of the clubhouse. We are nearing that point where final inspections are coming through. The pool did not survive the transfer of funds, and so it's been known for some time now that the once permitted pool is no longer, and the clubhouse will just be finished as designed and permitted without that amenity.
Others?
Well, reinforce, we need bigger clubs. We need, I know, and it's not just him, it's, well, Blue Ridge Plantation, but that's old too. I'm not sure, well, y'all can reassure me later that if we're good now going forward, but a lot of our troubles are history troubles.
Thank you for the explanation, sir. Welcome. Thank you. Questions?
One thing I noticed in the sheet, and I don't know if you mentioned it, usually there's a staff recommendation of approve or not approve. I didn't see that.
Sure, I would say we didn't make a formal recommendation, but we do acknowledge that the request is consistent with the comprehensive plan. Staff feels that either single-family attached or detached would be consistent with the existing zoning and with the future land use map. So in this case, since it was 92% built out, we agree that either is appropriate, so really wanted to hear from the residents.
So currently, there's how many townhomes constructed?
There are 4, one set.
So how many have been sold? I'm asking him. 2? Okay, so there's 4 constructed, 2 sold. And I mean, that appears to be what the market is, that we want single family, so, I mean, it needs to get finished, so, you know.
Now, to be clear, if with the bond situation or whatever you have with the basically my question is, are these items going to get completed, or will they go in a fund that we would then try to complete?
I don't want to make any promises because a lot of it depends on what the bond company says after this punch list and quote, but it is my understanding that we'll be moving forward soon to complete as many of these punch list items as we can.
The developer or the contractor,
The-
not us?
the bond
Or the
company
whoever
will
his
be-
representative will be? Okay.
Yes, that is my understanding. Now, if and when they do move forward with a site development plan, civil plans, stormwater for this particular change, it would be a major mod. So if and when they did that, and then they applied for a grading permit, at that point, we would require an updated bond to be put into place. So anything that was outstanding related to that project would be bonded. Same thing with the final plat. Anything related to that project, we would have to have an updated bond in place before we would sign that plat.
Sir, I believe you've got additional information in that regard.
The bonding company is Philadelphia Insurance. I notified them about a year ago of pending financial situations that I thought was important for them to know. And in that years-long discussions with them, we have worked pretty closely on numerous subdivisions which fall into the same pattern that Blaze Ridge finds itself right now. And I can report that in Charlotte, where we have active subdivisions, Philadelphia Insurance has completed 100% of the punch list items developed by that municipality. These are recent developments. So my experience in working with them, and I'm an obligee of this liability, and my experience has been that they fulfill all of the obligations falling under the bond and the subsequent punch list. I would expect them in my discussions with them, and it was encouraging to hear from staff that it's advancing, that it's exactly following the mold that has happened in other neighborhoods.
I have a quick question for you. How many lots were sold to Integrity?
12.
12. And how many lots are total in this development?
69,
69.
which
And who is the original developer?
New Style Blaze Ridge LLC.
New Style. And you worked for them?
Yes, I was a member.
You were a member of that LLC? And so you guys built 57 homes, sold the remaining 12 lots to Integrity?
Correct.
Not because you filed bankruptcy?
I did not. I had no pathway forward to build houses, but I had a relationship with a developer who knew about Blaze Ridge. This individual and his company's from Texas is an affiliation with the franchise company, not to get into the weeds here, known as Epcon Communities, who license these 55 and older plans to developers. That company did not want to see Blaze Ridge be destroyed at the 10-yard line. And with that person's resources, they were able to buy the lots and consult with me to increase the likelihood that the neighborhood would be finished.
So going back to the people that live in Blaze Ridge's concerns, they were marketed something by New Style LLC that was included some amenities that are now foregone. Is that, for lack of a better word, ethical?
That would be a materially correct statement. I could get into the actions of a private equity firm that really sits at the top of all of this. That's my personal experience, but yeah, there is a cascading effect that it has on people, sure. I can tell you, I've worked my butt off for nothing to see to it that this neighborhood could take as far as it could. And I'm pretty proud of that. Having had my entire business after a quarter of a century destroyed by private equity, I'm still hanging around. I'm still here tonight because I care about this neighborhood. There's no financial gain for me, but to see it through to this point, I think is a win for the Blaze Ridge community, the residents, and for the city of Greer. I really believe that.
Others? Again, thank you.
Thank you.
Comments?
Do we have a mechanism for future developments to bond these amenities? Is that even a possibility?
Yes.
Okay, is that something that we can realistically require?
I believe so, but I can consult our city attorney at our meeting tomorrow.
That would be great.
That would be great.
I mean, I believe so. Like I said, fence is usually not included, and it was in this bond, so
Yeah.
I would think anything infrastructure related, we could.
Okay.
Piggyback off that, I guess kind of my motivation on can we bond it is because in the UDO, we specify passive, active, recreation, and if it's something that we're telling our constituents that is going to happen based on our processes and procedures, but we don't have teeth to actually enforce it, I think it's good for us to at least look at, see what that could look like.
Yep, absolutely. We'll explore that further. This development was pre-UDO. I mean, it was part of the statement of intent, but it would not have been required under the zoning ordinance. But things like buffer, landscaping, street trees, anything that's required by the UDO, we are currently requiring either installation or bonding.
Well, if they're advertising, if they're selling it with amenities, then I'd like to see those amenities included in the bond, because it's part of the deal. I mean, we might not have voted for it, or people might not want to buy it, you know.
Questions? Comments? Further discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Lander,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Mr. Lamb,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, third item before us this evening is first reading of ordinance number 31-2026. This is an ordinance to change the zoning classification of a certain property owned by the city of Greer located on Gross Meadow Road from planned development to office professional. Ms. Cotty.
Thank you, Mayor. This property may look familiar since we own it, and we are currently working on design for a new fire station. So this is a parcel located on Gross Meadow Road. It was previously zoned, or is currently, we're asking to rezone, planned development as it was part of the Blue Ridge Plantation overall PD. The city has since bought it and again has plans for a municipal fire station. So we are requesting to rezone to office professional. Again, this is an aerial of the property. It is adjacent to the Blue Ridge Plantation pool and across from the cottages. It is currently zoned PD, as is most of the area around it, which is Blue Ridge Plantation. The other area is unincorporated county and primarily residential. The future land use map calls for suburban neighborhood. Institutional government uses are an approved or recommended secondary use in this particular character area. So staff is comfortable with this request. These are the existing conditions on the site, although probably not today because it's 100 degrees. These are existing conditions as of Google Maps. And again, the request is to rezone to office professional. It is surrounded by residential, primarily the Blue Ridge Plantation PD, including its amenity. The comprehensive plan is consistent with this request. Staff does recommend approval, and Planning Commission held a public hearing last Monday evening, and they recommended approval as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Is the zoning to the west unzoned Spartanburg County?
It is county, yep. It's Greenville.
Greenville County?
Yes, sir.
It's listed on our map as Spartanburg
Oh,
County.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, just
We will
a,
update.
just a note, just a note.
Yes, it is Greenville County.
Comes with a recommendation, I'll entertain a motion to receive.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. I think I know who the owner of the property is.
Yeah, we gotta watch that.
Yeah, we're gonna get a big.
It comes with approval, a recommendation for approval, I'll entertain a motion to receive.
Already got it.
We've got one, okay. Floor is open for discussion.
Where are we on the design of the station?
Mr. Sell, where are we on the design right now?
We're approaching the end of 60% drawings. We should have that by the end of the month.
we do intend to bring to council, once we get to that critical point, obviously notice of intent to award in the GMP as we work towards that process. So this is obviously a crucial step in the development process.
Others? Questions? Comments? Further discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Lander,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Mr. Lamb.
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, we have no items in executive session this evening. Stand adjourned.